to get here. He was so excited, throwing his arms up in the air, screaming loudly. Both of these athletes were defeated by ZAKARIIEV, and that's why they make themselves in here in the repechage to go for the bronze medal.
HUSHTYN in the red for Belarus, two-time European silver medalist, brought home the second place prize back-to-back years in 2018 and 19 at the Continental Championships. He wrestled in Tokyo. This is his best world championship that he has had, as Ryan told you. He's been around a while. This is his fifth world championship. He's never medaled. Trying to change that against the Ukrainian. Started competing at the senior level in the world championships back in 2015.
First step has been back for ZAKARIIEV multiple times, and now HUSHTYN pushing his, getting himself pushed back towards the zone, that yellow area around the mat called the danger zone.
ZAKARIIEV with a straight-on shot near the edge. HUSHTYN trying to circle him back around, switches up to the crotch. Wizard tried to get in there from HUSHTYN, and they go out of bounds.
Yeah, and I really like the way the official waited on that step out. You saw him point to the line that HUSHTYN had stepped off the mat, but he let the action continue, and ZAKARIIEV was able to turn it back inside to the mat and get the two-point takedown. So that was good patience by the official not to blow his whistle.
They will stop the match for a blood timeout. Looks like HUSHTYN bleeding from his left nostril, so they'll try to clean that up. Good offense, though, from ZAKARIIEV, a 2-0 lead. Watching Ukraine through the years, I've noticed ZAKARIIEV has had some success with the beach wrestling. This is something we haven't talked a lot about. It's the new growing trend for the style of wrestling, and we're seeing more of it. And ZAKARIIEV has been a guy that's competed in the over 90 kilo. I think that's how they classify the larger division, and he's had some success with it.
He has, and that's another one. You don't have to pay necessarily for sand. You can go to the beach. You can go to where at the Olympic Games or in the World Championships where you see the men and women play sand volleyball.
No block, red attack.
It's a great sport. You need a pair of board shorts or a one-piece or two-piece bathing suit, and you can go on the beach.
Have you seen it live yet?
I have, and it's exciting.
Yeah, it looks great on the videos that I've watched.
You get that grit in your teeth, though, after a while. If you get sand in your mouth, you crunch for it. Or you get it, and I'm a little bit thicker around the waist these days, so it gets into the crevices. I wish it didn't.
Stays there for a while, doesn't it?
I got to clean really well.
ZAKARIIEV after the blood timeout, 2-0, Ukraine on top, 50 seconds to go in this opening period. Great to have you with us. I know it's morning, afternoon, evening, all different parts of the world here in Oslo, Norway. We are just before the 7 o'clock hour in the evening. Full day of wrestling with the women, and now we close the chapter on another saga here in the men's freestyle, and how this book ends, anybody's guess, with the gold medal match coming up at 97.
No fingers.
Snyder and ZAKARIIEV for the gold, not just for the two wrestlers, but also for their respective countries. That's what we have coming up still tonight. Pace has slowed down a little bit after ZAKARIIEV initiated the early offense, content with the 2 points, and he heads to the corner on top.
I constantly go back to thinking of the days, pre-1994, 1995. We had the unified team when many of our republics that used to be Soviet, these two wrestlers would not have been able probably to compete. Well, they definitely would have, because ZAKARIIEV would have been the guy. They wouldn't have been able to compete at the World Championships for their home republic. The fact that there are, I think, 17 old republics of that Soviet bloc who are now competing in wrestling. It's either 17 or 19. But that's a phenomenal, number of people and we've talked about Jordan Burroughs being maybe one of the best ever because he had to compete against all of those with 3 different rule sets. And now he has, his 6th world title, something pretty special.
Yeah, all that talent, all in that geographical area, and then it was broke up, all these different athletes given opportunities to represent and get to this world stage.
I was real fortunate to have the BLR brothers at my school for a camp, and we went to dinner, and they're hilarious. They're just amazing human beings. And I said, what was the Soviet nationals like? He said, it was like the Olympics.
Yeah, it really was
better because you had so many guys competing for one spot, the best in the world competing for one spot in their country from their clubs. And you look at the Russian nationals now, some of those, you have multiple guys who could win Olympic or world titles. You look at the Japanese for the women, their national championship, the number 1 person, the number 2, the number 3. You've seen it here, could win a world title. So it's exciting to be able to see so many countries and some of these small nations do well. And there's a point for HUSHTYN as the activity period ends.
HUSHTYN cuts it in half. Still unable to find any type of offense, trying to get to his penetrating shots. Has not been able to do it so far with ZAKARIIEV. HUSHTYN growing up, he had tried a lot of different sports, even some volleyball, some taekwondo, even ice hockey before he and his mother went to watch a freestyle wrestling training session. And once he saw how the athletes were training, he immediately fell in love with the sport. He gave up everything else, put wrestling as his main focus, and gives a lot of the credit for his passion for the sport to his mother. And I think you talk to a lot of wrestlers out there. Yeah, the dads get a lot of credit, but it's the moms that are the heartbeat, the soul of these wrestlers.
There's nobody tougher than a wrestling mom. The number of women that I've seen had to be pulled off the mat because their baby boy or girl was in a fight on the mat, they get into it.
Action here by HUSHTYN near the edge, trying to make his mom proud. Switches his grip a little bit, readjusts, and he plows his way. But they're going to say grounded, no step out point, as ZAKARIIEV was on the knees.
And that was a close one.
Really close.
HUSHTYN looked like he had lifted ZAKARIIEV off the mat for 1 point, but they said that he was continued to be grounded. In deep right now.
Trying to go thrust, catapult over the top for 4, ZAKARIIEV. Let's see if it's confirmed.
It is confirmed, and it's the right call. He chest locked him. HUSHTYN in deep to the hips. He dropped his hips. He popped his hips. He lifted HUSHTYN up, and HUSHTYN landed in danger on his back for 4. Great hold and a great defensive, offensive move for ZAKARIIEV. That's that short offense position.
Sometimes you can't hit the button hard enough to get the attention. HUSHTYN and Belarus, they want to challenge it. That gives us another opportunity to appreciate the strength of ZAKARIIEV.
Right, and here's what we're looking for. Did ZAKARIIEV change the direction of HUSHTYN? If HUSHTYN drove straight in and drove ZAKARIIEV to his back, then it's 4 points HUSHTYN. But look, he stopped him, he changed his direction, he took him across his back. That's the right call. 4 is the right score. Right here, changed his direction, threw him through. HUSHTYN's momentum did not take ZAKARIIEV to his back. The right call on the, I'll be shocked if they change it.
Suplex action into the air for 4. It is confirmed. They will get the challenge point as well for the lost challenge from Belarus. 7-1. Ukraine, just like that. HUSHTYN now in desperation mode. He will come in, get the takedown. Really did not have any type of defense to get through. Now wisely, ZAKARIIEV's going to latch on to an ankle and a leg. He just wants to avoid giving up any type of exposure. 2 late points for Ukraine and a bronze medal for Mamed ZAKARIIEV. A 9-3 win.
And HUSHTYN went after it, but he was going to need a big 4 point and another 2 point just to get to the win. ZAKARIIEV able to pull HUSHTYN's foot up and get the victory.
His first world bronze medal for Ukraine, Mohamed ZAKARIIEV.